our first story has to do with net neutrality. Washington governor signs the first state net neutrality bill. This is over up in Washington state. Residents of Washington state are getting so-called net neutrality rules back with the nation's first state law that prevents internet service providers from blocking and slowing down content online. The law, signed on Monday by Governor Jay Inslee, a Democrat, is the most sweeping state action so far against new federal rules that strip away regulations on how internet providers can handle digital data. The Washington state law, which goes into effect June 6, bars internet service providers from blocking websites or charging more for faster delivery of certain sites in a way that benefits the broadband company and partner websites. The new law is one of several efforts to counter the FCC change. All right, so Washington state has joined on the states that have done something to fight back net neutrality. And is this a good thing? Abso-freaking-lutely. I'm really glad that the states are fighting back for net neutrality. We have a similar bill here in California. The problem with a lot of these bills is that the FCC will be able to take them to court. So these bills, well, they are well-intentioned. They might not be the permanent fix. What is the permanent fix? Man, you guys have heard me say this a million times, but here's 1,000,001. The permanent fix is municipal broadband. And I'm fighting for municipal broadband here in my community in Pasadena, California, where I live. And I know some of you have started those fights in your communities. You've been showing up to city halls. Some of you have emailed me and asked me for the transcript of what I said at my city hall, which is flattering and honoring, and I'm happy to share that with you, and I have shared it with a lot of you, and that's freaking cool. And that fight's going to continue. You know, I actually need to follow up with my city hall, which I plan on doing today, actually. In fact, as soon as this stream's over, I plan on doing that. I plan on writing my city hall again and being like, hey, what's the follow-up here? Because it's supposed to be on an agenda either at the end of March or at the beginning of April. So I'm going to follow up. I'm going to be like, hey, you know, net neutrality's gone. You know, let's lead the way, you know. And I guess one thing I'll tell everyone to keep in mind is to kind of speak their language a little bit. One of the things that I've kind of harped on when I was talking to my city officials is how much this would benefit the community and how much this could help Pasadena really be a leader in innovation. And that's true. That's not a lie. That's a truth. But it's also deeper than that. It also goes into rights. It also goes into censorship and media democracy. But, you know, you kind of got to speak the industry language to get it on the agenda. So Washington State joining the net neutrality fight, having state laws. These state laws are good things. They're a part of the fight, and we got to throw everything we can at this thing to preserve the free and open internet. But I don't know how solid these laws are going to stand up. I know that here in California, we're very susceptible to lawsuits. We're very susceptible to these laws being challenged in court. So let's see. We'll see what happens. Internet service providers can also sue. It says this at the end of the article. Internet service providers could also sue Washington State to overturn its rules. The companies could also sue states whose governors have signed executive orders demanding net neutrality. Maru Sewell says, glad my state of Washington jumped on net neutrality. I definitely voted for a mayoral candidate that was for Seattle City Municipal Broadband, but she lost to the Comcast bot candidate. Yeah, I know that's something that's been going on there for a while, because I know that Washington State, to my knowledge, and I'm basing this off of friends I have that live in Seattle that have been telling me this, the ISPs do not do the greatest job up there. And they've really been fighting for municipal broadband. And you think if anywhere could really get it done, it'd be a place like Seattle, Washington. I mean, that's like the tech city, pretty much, or one of them at least. You'd think they would have been one of the pioneers, but they aren't because of cable interests. It's also a big major city where ISPs want their money. So that's why the places that have been leading the way are Fort Collins, Colorado, Longmont, Colorado, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Something that I've observed, all these places are not major cities, which means the cable companies and the ISPs are more likely to just kind of take the loss. But a major city like a Seattle, Washington, like a Los Angeles, California, they're more likely to really fight tooth and nail to keep that money. And I'm preparing for that fight here in Pasadena. I'm hoping that maybe Pasadena can slide under the radar. But, you know, if somewhere in Southern California gets municipal internet and it's successful, other places in Southern California are going to try to copy that model, which means the cable companies are going to fight it out the gate. But let's close this segment with a joke from Sake. How many neoliberals does it take to change a light bulb? None. They can only resist change. Hashtag resist change. Thanks, Saki. But you know what? The one thing we have in common when it comes to the neoliberals and establishment, net neutrality is the one thing we have in common with a lot of them. We're all fighting this net neutrality thing. So we'll see how this all ends. Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was a clip from Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means I log on to a stream and people tweet me articles over on Twitter at Ron Placone, or they use our Reddit subsection, which is just Get Your News On with Ron over on Reddit. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. We are literally getting our news on together. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can participate. And this show streams live every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please do tune in. If you want to support this show, you can do so over on patreon.com/Ron Placone, where for as low as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts every week, exclusive videos, free tickets to shows when I'm performing in your town, and more for as low as $1 a month. Please do consider it. Thank you so much for your support. This has been Get Your News On with Ron.